What if I told you I built this WhatsApp clone in 50 minutes and this e-commerce application with admin panel in just 40? Sounds impossible, right? Well, it's not a dream anymore. It's the power of Cursor AI with Flutter. So, whether you are a complete beginner in app development or an experienced Flutter developer, in this course I will show you how to use Cursor AI to create real-world mobile applications faster than ever before. So, from writing codes to fixing bugs and designing beautiful UIs, Cursor helps you do it all effortlessly. And inside this course, we are going to build exciting mobile applications like an expense tracker, a weather application, a WhatsApp clone, an e-commerce application with admin panel, and much more. Apart from that, you will learn to create professional mobile app GUIs with Figma and implement them in Flutter with Cursor. So it means creating production ready applications that look and feel amazing. And this is not just about building mobile apps, it is about mastering the future of app development. So, what are you waiting for? Enroll now and let's start creating amazing apps together. So, what is Cursor? It is a computer software where AI can write code for us. Or in professional way, it is an IDE where we can write code with the power of AI. So in order to use Cursor, we need to download and install it inside our system. And to do that, you can search for Cursor inside your browser. And then in the search results, you can check this cursor.com. So click on it and the home page will be opened. So as we are on Windows, so we are going to download it for Windows. And if you are on a Mac, you can click on download for Mac and the download will gonna start. So once the download will gonna complete, you can simply install it, and after that, once you will open it, you will see a window similar to this one. So this is the basic interface of Cursor. So after installing Cursor, the next step is attaching your Google, Apple or GitHub account with it. So to do that, you can go to the settings and there click on sign in button, and then it will gonna ask you to attach your account. So we are going to continue with Google, but you can select other options if you want. So let's click on it and then select your account and then log in. And once done, then open the Cursor again and you will be able to see your account is attached here. So once you will gonna attach Cursor, then the next thing is looking at their pricing or whether we can use it for free or not. And to do that, you can click on this open button and it will gonna open your Cursor profile. So basically Cursor provides a 7-day free trial period and it is more than enough to try its feature. And then if you find it really useful and productive, then we can go for their pro plan, which costs $20 per month. But for now, as it is our first time, so we can start this free day 7 trial. But to enable it, you have to attach your payment method. So once you will do that, that plan will be activated. And after using Cursor for a week, if you find it really useful, then we can go for their paid plan. So now after doing that, the setup for Cursor is completed. And the next step is using Cursor for building our mobile apps. And we are going to start that process from our next lecture. So see you in the next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to set up the environment for Flutter app development. and we are going to do that on Mac operating system. And if you have a Windows, then you can follow the other lecture where we are going to do the environment setup on Windows operating system. And if you already got Flutter and Android Studio set up on your Mac, then you can skip this section and proceed to the next one. But now we are going to start setting up the environment. And the first step is installing or adding Flutter SDK inside our MacBook. So to do that, you can open your favorite browser and there type Flutter. After that, press enter and you will see this first result, which is this www.flutter.dev. So click on this link and the documentation page for Flutter will be opened. And here you can read about the features of Flutter. But we are going to click on this get started button and we will be moved to this screen where we need to select our operating system. So as we got a Mac, so we will select this macOS and it will gonna show us this option. And here for now we are going to select iOS, so just select it and it will gonna show us the instructions to do the setup of Flutter on macOS. So here you can firstly scroll down and go to the section install the Flutter SDK, and there in the download and install section you will find these two options. So if you got a Mac which has an Intel chip, then you can select this one, and if you got the latest Mac with M1, M2 or M3 chip, then you can download this zip file. So as I got a Mac with an Intel chip, so I will gonna download this one. So click on it and the download will gonna start. So now let's wait for this download to be completed and then we are going to add this SDK inside our MacBook. So now the zip file is downloaded and I got it here. And now we need to put this zip file or this SDK somewhere inside our Mac, and then we need to tell Mac that this is the Flutter SDK and using it we are going to develop Flutter applications. So how we are going to do that? So to do that, open the documentation page again, and here below these download buttons we got some instructions. So there you can see the second instruction is creating a folder where you can install Flutter, and they recommend that inside our home directory we will create a folder with the name development. So what we are going to do is to open our Finder and then we are going to navigate to our home folder. And there we are going to create a new folder. So select new folder here and then name it development. After that, inside this folder we need to extract that zip file. So there you can see I got it here on desktop. So what I can do is to drag it inside this folder and then I am going to double tap it to uncompress it. And there you can see we got this Flutter folder. And after getting this Flutter folder, you can delete this zip file. So let's delete it and that's it. So now we got this Flutter folder inside our development folder. So now after doing that, open the documentation page and there the next step is adding Flutter to your path. So at this point we have completed these three steps. So firstly we downloaded the SDK and then we created the development folder, and inside it we have put or extracted that zip file. And after that we need to add Flutter to our path. So to run Flutter commands in the terminal, add Flutter to the path environment variables. And to do that, we need to open this file named as zshenv, or there are chances that inside your Mac this file is present with the name zhsrc. So you need to open this file and then inside this file you need to put this path at the end of this file, and then you need to save that file. And after that the path of Flutter SDK will be added inside our environment variables. So to do that, you need to firstly check that whether this zshenv file is present or not. And to do that, you can open the terminal, and inside terminal we are right now inside our home folder. So here you need to execute this command ls space al. So press enter and you will be able to see all the files present inside our home. And there you can see I got this zshrc file. So in your case you will gonna get this file, or you may have this zshenv file. So as I got this file, so I am going to open it. And to open it we are going to write the command open and then we need to type the file name, which is zshrc, and in your case it will be zshenv if you got this env file. So press enter. So you can see this .zshrc file is opened, and now inside this file we need to put this path. So you can simply copy this path, and when you will look at it, it is pointing to our development folder, and then inside development we got Flutter, and inside this Flutter we got this bin folder. And if in your case you have put this Flutter folder somewhere else, then you need to specify that path here. But in our case we got it in the home folder, so this is the path which we are going to use. So just simply copy it and then open the file, and after that at the end of this file simply paste it. Now press Command S and this file will be saved, and after saving the file just simply close it, and then you can also close this terminal. And now you need to open the terminal again, and here to confirm that Flutter is installed successfully or not, you need to execute a command flutter version. So enter this command and press enter. And you can see this information here. So I got Flutter version 3.16.9, and this is the version which I just installed. So if after running this command you got this information, then it means that you have successfully added Flutter SDK inside your Mac, and Flutter is also added inside your environment variables. So now we can access Flutter from command lines. So now after installing the Flutter SDK, the next step is setting up the Android Studio, because using Android Studio we are going to build our Flutter applications. So in order to install Android Studio, inside your browser type Android Studio and press enter. And there you can see the results. So open this first link, developer.android.com studio. And there you can see this page, and here you will gonna get this download Android Studio button, and this is the latest version of Android Studio available in March 2024. So just click on it and it will gonna show you this agreement screen. So click on this check mark, and then if you got a Mac with Intel chip, then click on this download button, and if you got an Apple chip, then download this one. So as I got this Intel chip, so I will gonna click on it, and there you can see the download started. So now let's wait for this download to be completed. So now the download of Android Studio is completed, and we got this DMG file here. So just simply double tap on it and it will gonna show you this window. So here move this Android Studio inside application folder, and after that open this launchpad, and here you will be able to find Android Studio. So just simply click on it, and then you will get this pop-up. So simply click on this don't send button, and then you will get this welcome Android Studio screen. So here simply click on this next button, and then you can select the standard or custom type. So if you will select custom, then you can customize installation settings and components installed, but we will go with this standard. So then click next, and here you will find some SDK components and tools which need to be downloaded. So click next, and then you need to agree for these license. So click on this accept button, and then click on this Android SDK ARM and click on accept as well. Then click finish, and these components will gonna start downloading, and once they finish our Android Studio will be ready. So there you can see these components are being downloaded, and it will gonna take some time. So now all the components are downloaded, so click on this finish button and Android Studio will be opened. But at this point inside Android Studio, we cannot create a Flutter project. And to create a Flutter project, we need to install Flutter plugin. So in the side pane, click on plugins and then search for Flutter. So Flutter. And there you can see the result. So the first result is this Flutter plugin. So just click on this install, and it will gonna ask you to accept these conditions. So just accept it. And there you can see the Flutter plugin is installed, and it is asking to restart IDE. So click on this button and our Android Studio will be restarted. And there you can see Android Studio is restarted, and now we got this new Flutter project button, and earlier this button was not there. So it means that now inside Android Studio we can create a Flutter project. So now at this point inside Android Studio we can create a new Flutter project, and then we can run that Flutter project on Android device. But we cannot run that Flutter project on iOS, because for iOS we need to install another software called Xcode, and then by combining this Android Studio and Xcode we will be able to run Flutter applications on iOS and Mac devices. So the next step is installing Xcode inside our MacBook. You need to open App Store inside your Mac. So inside Launchpad search for App Store and you will find it here. And now inside App Store simply search for Xcode. After that press enter and you will see this first result. So this is the software which we are going to download. So you can click on it and its home page will be opened. So now you can simply click on this get button and then click on the install button, and this software will gonna start downloading, and once you will gonna download it, it will gonna show you an open button here. So once Xcode will be installed, you will be able to see this open button, and upon clicking on it, Xcode will be opened. Or you can also check Launchpad, and there you will also find Xcode icon. So just click on it and it will be launched in just a second. So when for the first time it will be opened, it will gonna ask you to agree with these terms and conditions, and there you need to provide the password of your Mac to agree with them. And then you will see this window, and here you can select the devices for which you want to develop the applications. So by default macOS and iOS will be selected, so you can just select both of these and then click on install button, and it will gonna install some additional components. And once that process is finished, you will see this what's new in Xcode window. So here you can simply click on continue button and you will be able to see this window for Xcode. So once Xcode is installed and it is launched, you will be able to see a window similar to this one. And here you can create a new project in Xcode, or you can open an existing project. So after installing Xcode, you need to click on this Xcode button in the top left corner, and then you can click on this preferences. And here you need to go to this location tab, and then you need to select a value inside this command line tools. So by default there will not be any value selected here. So you can click on this drop down and you will be able to see the name and version of your Xcode. So just simply select it, and we are all set to build iOS applications inside Flutter. So just close this window and then open Android Studio. And now inside Android Studio we can create a new Flutter project, and then we can also run this project inside Android and iOS. So let's start by creating a new Flutter project. So click on this new Flutter project button, and here in the side pane you need to select Flutter because we want to create a new Flutter project. Then click next, and here you need to assign a name to your project. Like I will gonna name it as first app, and then you can select your project location here. So by default the studio project folder will be selected, and it is created by Android Studio. And then we got the language selection here. So we will gonna use Kotlin for Android and Swift for iOS. And after doing that, you can select the platforms. Like if you want to build this application only for Android and iOS, then you can uncheck this Linux, macOS, web and Windows. And if you want to build it for all of these platforms, then keep them selected and click on this create button so that our new Flutter project will be created. And there you can see our new Flutter project is created, and as it's our first project, so it will gonna download few files. So let's wait for these files or packages to be downloaded. So now the files are downloaded and our Flutter project is ready. So when we create a new Flutter project, by default it provides us a counter application. So now firstly we are going to install this counter application inside an Android device or inside an Android emulator, and then we are also going to install it inside an iOS simulator. So firstly, we are going to install the starter application inside an iOS simulator, and then we are also going to install it inside an Android emulator. So to open an Android simulator here, you can click on this drop down and you will see this option open iOS simulator. So just click on it and it will gonna launch this simulator here. So there you can see a simulator or a clone for iPhone 14 Pro Max is opened, and it will gonna take few seconds and then it will be ready. And after that we are going to install the starter application inside this iOS simulator. And there you can see the iOS simulator is ready. And now to install our application on this iOS simulator, what we can do is to select it here in this drop down, and there you can see it is already selected. So after selecting it, click on this run main dot dot and our application will be installed inside this iOS simulator in few seconds. And there you can see our application is installed inside this iOS simulator. So this is the default counter application provided by Flutter. And here when you will click on this button, this count will gonna increase. So now we have successfully set up Flutter in macOS, and then we have also created a new Flutter project, and we are able to install this Flutter project inside an iOS simulator. And now the next step is installing this starter application inside an Android emulator. So to install this starter application inside an Android device, you can either connect your mobiles with this MacBook or you can create an Android emulator. So here let's minimize this emulator and then click on this device manager icon. And there you can see a default Android emulator created by me. But in your case, you might not see anything here but a create Android emulator button. So upon clicking on this button, you will see a dialog similar to this one. And here you can select the device for which you want to create an emulator. Like we are going to select Pixel 7 and then click next. And there you will be able to see the list of Android versions. So here you can select the latest version or the versions you like. Like we are going to select this Android 14. So just select it and then click on this download button. So before creating an Android emulator containing Android 14, we need to download the zip file for Android 14. And there you can see this download started. So now we need to wait for this download to be completed, and then we are going to create an Android emulator and install our application inside it. So now the downloading process is finished, so just click on this finish button, and after that you can see this Android version which is currently downloaded inside your macOS. So just simply select it and then click next, and after that you can select the orientation of the device and then click finish and our Android emulator will be created. So there you can see after creating it, we got this Pixel 7 which is containing Android 14. So to launch this Android emulator, click on this run button, and after that minimize this bottom box and also minimize this top box so that we can see the emulator here clearly, and it will be there in just a second. And there you can see the emulator is started and you can see the basic interface of this particular Android device. So once it is ready, you can simply select it from this drop down. So there you can see this Pixel 7, so just select it. And after that, we are going to install the application inside this Android emulator. So now our application is installed inside this Android emulator. So let's increase its size so that we can see things clearly. And here, upon click on this button, this count is increasing. So now let's start by setting up the environment for Flutter app development. And for this purpose, we need to download Flutter SDK, which is Flutter Software Development Kit, and we need to put it inside our system. And to do that, you need to open your browser, and here you can search for Flutter SDK. and there you can see the results, and the first link is this flutter.dev. So click on it and the home page for Flutter will be opened, and there you can read about different features which Flutter provides. But you can see this get started button at the top right corner, so we are going to click here and it will gonna take us to this page where we can select our platform. So as we are using Windows, so select it, and after that it will gonna ask you that for which particular platform you want to build applications. So for now we are going to select Android here, and then you can see this section, and here firstly you can read the minimum hardware requirements, like the minimum CPU cores should be 4 and the RAM should be 8. Apart from that, the resolution will be this one, and you should have minimum 11 GB space inside your system. But these requirements are generally met for all the systems. So after looking at them, you can scroll down, and there you will find this section to download and install Flutter. And here you can see this Flutter Windows stable.zip. So you need to download this zip file, and it contains Flutter SDK, and then we are going to put it inside our system. So firstly click on it and it will gonna start downloading Flutter SDK for us. Like there you can see this download started, and it will gonna take few minutes to complete. So now the zip file is downloaded and we need to firstly unzip it. So here we are going to extract it using WinRAR, but you can use any extraction software. So now the extraction is completed and we got this folder, and inside this folder you can see we got this Flutter folder, and this Flutter folder contains Flutter software development kit. So we are going to put it inside our Windows directory, although it is not necessary and you can put it anywhere, but we are going to select Windows directory. So simply cut it from here and go inside C drive, and here we are simply going to paste it. So now after putting this folder here, we have added Flutter SDK inside our system. But at this point, this Flutter SDK can only be accessed from this Flutter folder. So it means that we cannot access it outside of this Flutter folder. Like here in the search field, if I will type cmd, then it will gonna open command prompt for me. And then if I will type the command flutter doctor, and this command is used to analyze Flutter which is installed inside your system. So if I will type it and press enter, you can see it is not recognizing Flutter as a command. So it means that we cannot access Flutter from here, from this C drive. But if I will open this Flutter folder and then go inside bin, and here I will open cmd again, so type cmd. And now here if I will type the same command, which is this flutter doctor, and press enter, now you can see it returned this output that Flutter version 3.22.3 is installed inside our system, and apart from that it has returned some other information as well. But now to access Flutter from anywhere inside our computer, we need to set environment variable, and to do that you can simply right click on this PC and go to properties, and here select this advanced system settings, and then select this environment variables. And now here we need to add the path of our Flutter bin folder to access it from anywhere inside our computer. And you can directly type environment variable here and you will be able to see this window, and then you can open environment variables. So now we need to open our Flutter folder and then inside it go to bin. After that copy the path of this Flutter bin and then open this environment variable window. And here in the system variables you need to find the key which is path, and if there is no variable with the name path, then you can add a new variable, and here you can specify the variable name to path, and then in the value you can simply paste the path of bin folder which we copied. But in our case we already got this path here, so I will gonna double click, and now here I will gonna add the path which we copied. So there you can see C, Flutter and bin. After that press OK and then press OK again. And now we are going to close this window. And after doing that we will go inside our C drive and then open cmd again. And here we are going to type this flutter doctor command. Now press enter and you can see the same detail here, so it means that Flutter is set up successfully inside our system, and now we can access Flutter from anywhere inside our Windows PC. So now after setting up Flutter, the next step is installing Android Studio. So at this point we have set up Flutter SDK inside our system. But now to develop Flutter applications we need to install some IDE like Android Studio or Visual Studio, where we are going to write the code for building our Flutter applications. So as we are going to use Android Studio, so we need to firstly install it. And here when we are running Flutter Doctor, we are getting a lot of information. And this information is about the status of Flutter inside our system. Like you can notice that Flutter is successfully installed inside our system and we got this green tick. But here you can notice that for Android Studio we got this warning that it is not installed. So now the next step is installing Android Studio. And to do that you need to open your browser and then you can search for Android Studio. And here you can see the results. So open this first link, which is this developer.android.com studio. And now here you can simply download latest version of Android by clicking on this download Android Studio button. And here you need to firstly accept their terms and then click on this download button and our Android Studio will gonna start downloading. And there you can see the download started and it will gonna take few minutes to complete. So now the download is completed and we got this Android Studio.exe file. So now to install Android Studio, double click on it and it will gonna open the setup for Android Studio installation. And there you can see the setup for Android Studio. So click next and then select the location where you want to install Android Studio. So I will gonna keep the default location, then press next and then click on this install button and the installation will gonna start. So here the setup is completed, so press next and then finally click finish and it will gonna launch Android Studio for us. So there you can see it is firstly asking that whether we want to import some settings or not. So we will gonna select do not import setting, then press OK. And after that you will see this window, so press next and then you need to select the install type. So you got this standard and custom option, so we will go with standard. And after that it will gonna download these tools which will be required inside Android Studio. So press next and then you need to click accept here and after that accept these licenses as well. Now press finish and it will gonna start downloading those tools for us. And once those tools are downloaded, they will be included inside Android Studio and later they will be used while building our mobile applications. So now let's wait for these files to be downloaded. So now all the components are downloaded, so click finish. And then you will see this window and here you can create a new project inside Android Studio or open existing one. But to create a new Flutter project there is a separate button with the title New Flutter Project and it is not there. And the reason is right now we have just installed Android Studio and we did not set up Flutter inside Android Studio. And to do that you need to go to plugins and there you need to install two plugins inside Android Studio. So the first plugin which you need to install is called Dart, and Dart is the official language for Flutter. So you need to install Dart plugin inside Android Studio. So there you can see this plugin, so click install and this plugin will be installed in just a second. And there you can see this plugin is installed. And the second plugin which we need is called Flutter. So you can search for Flutter here, but in our case we can already see it here. So click on install and this plugin will also be installed. And there you can see this plugin is installed and now it requires us to restart Android Studio. So click on this restart IDE button and then press this restart. And there you can see Android Studio is restarted and we got this new Flutter project button here. So it means that Android Studio is successfully installed and Flutter is successfully configured inside Android Studio. And now if you will gonna open command prompt and write the same Flutter Doctor command here, you will be able to see the warning for Android Studio is gone. So there you can see now the warning for Android Studio is gone, and the only issue we have is regarding Android toolchains, and we are also going to correct them. So to resolve this first issue, you need to install command line tools for Android Studio. So open Android Studio, and here you can go to more actions and then click on this SDK manager. And now here you can go to SDK tools and select this Android SDK command line tools. And after that click apply, and this tool will be downloaded and added inside Android Studio. So press OK, and this download is started. So let's wait for this download to be completed, and after that this warning will be gone from Flutter Doctor. So now these tools are downloaded, so click finish, and after that click apply. Now press OK, and this window will be closed. And after doing that, let's run Flutter Doctor again. And there you can see now upon running this command we did not get any error. There is only one warning, and that is about Android licenses. So this command line tools error is now gone. So now to resolve this final warning, you need to run this command inside your command prompt. So you can simply copy this command, and after that you can paste it here inside CMD. Now press enter. And there you can see it wants us to review licenses that has not been accepted, and here we are going to pass Y because we want to accept them, and after that pass Y here as well, and then again type Y. And there you can see after accepting multiple times we got this all SDK package licenses accepted. So now after that if we will run Flutter Doctor again, now you can see everything is set up correctly, so we did not get any error or any warning. So it means that we are ready to develop our Flutter applications. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, you will learn to create an Android virtual device inside Android Studio. So an Android emulator or an Android virtual device is the replica of a real Android device which will be running on your Windows PC. So basically we are going to open an Android phone here on screen, and later we are going to install our applications on that device for testing it. So how we can create these Android emulators inside Android Studio? So to create this emulator you need to click on this more actions and then go to this virtual device manager. And if you are using some older version of Android Studio, then you will find this option for Android virtual device. So once you will click there, you will see this option for creating a virtual device. So click on it, and then here you need to select the device which you want to create. Like you can create different phones, tablets, Wear OS, desktop, TV, automotive, and so on. So as phone is selected, so we can see the list of available devices. So you can select any device that you like. Like I will gonna select this Pixel 7 Pro and then press next, and here you need to select the Android version which you want to install on that particular device. So for now, as the stable version is Android 14, so we are going to download this Android 14, and to do that you can simply click on this download button, and this download will gonna start. And once this download is completed, after that our Android emulator will be ready. So now let's wait for this download to be completed. So now the Android version is downloaded, so click finish, and after that you can select the downloaded version here which is Android 14, and then press next, and here you can select the orientation of your device and then click finish, and our new Android emulator will be created, and there you can see this emulator. And now to launch it you can simply click on this run button. So now the emulator which we just created is launched, and you can see this Android device here, and it has a lot of functionality which is similar to your real Android device. And while building our mobile applications, we can install Android applications on this device and then we can test them, and we are going to do this thing later inside our course. Hello guys, Hamza here. I just want to let you know that this video is just the first part of my complete Cursor AI for Flutter masterclass. The complete course is around 5 hours long, and inside it we are going to build exciting mobile applications like a WhatsApp clone and an e-commerce application with admin panel with Cursor AI. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion which you can add to your resume. And the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee. So if you are not satisfied, just simply ask for a refund. So if you are interested, I will put a link down below, and we are offering a discount to first 100 students. And now let's continue to the next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. So now we are going to build our first mobile application with Cursor AI, and that will be an expense tracker application. So to build this application, the first step is creating a new Flutter project, and there are 3 ways in which we can create that project. So the first way is we are going to use Android Studio or Visual Studio for creating that Flutter project. So this is the most secure and conventional way. And the second way is we are going to use command prompt or terminal on macOS and write a command there to create the Flutter project. And the third way is we will ask Cursor AI to create that Flutter project. So as we are in the start of this course, so we don't want to mess things up. So we are going to use the most simpler approach, and the approach which will gonna work all the time, and that is we are going to create that empty Flutter project using Android Studio. So to do that, you can launch Android Studio, and there you can click on this new Flutter project button, and then here make sure that Flutter is selected. After that, press next, and then here you need to type your application name. So we are going to name it like expense tracker. And then you need to note this location where you are creating it, or you can also change it. And once done, you can click on this create button and our new Flutter project will be created. So for this first application, we are using Android Studio, but later we are going to use command prompt or terminal, and then we are also going to use Cursor AI for creating this empty or starter application. So there you can see our new Flutter project is created, and here if you will see some message like enable dot support, then you should enable it. And once you do that, our project is created, and in this project, in the side pane, you will see all the folders and files present, and the main folder is this lib folder, and here we are going to write the code of our application. But for this course, we are not going to write any single line of code, and Cursor AI will gonna write all the code and build our expense tracker application. So for now, you can see this lib folder contains this main dot dot, but later Cursor will gonna add more files in it, and to do that we can simply minimize this project and open the cursor, because the next work is related to cursor. So here, once Cursor is launched, you can click on this open project button and then select the folder where you created the project. So we are going to open the studio project and select this expense tracker, and now our project will be opened inside Cursor. And once it's done, you will be able to see the same project structure here, but now on the right side we got this chat window. So here we can ask Cursor AI to build our expense tracker application. So to build that application, we are going to say make changes in this project and build a Flutter expense tracker application where user can create, edit and delete expenses. So this is the simple prompt which we are going to write. So let's simply do that. And that's it. So that will be our simple prompt, and you can notice that in plain text we have described the functionality of our application, and later you are also going to learn that how to pass best prompts here to build fully professional applications. Like in case of this expense tracker, we are also going to try a professional prompt which will gonna create a production ready application. But for now, after writing the prompt here, you need to make sure that the mode here is selected to agent, because we want Cursor to make changes in the whole project or build the application using its AI capabilities. And then you can simply click on the send button and it will gonna start generating our expense tracker application. And there you can see the response. I will help you build a simple expense tracker application in Flutter. So firstly, it will gonna examine our current project or the folder which we have opened, and then it will gonna create necessary components and write the code. And there you can notice that it has divided the whole process into 8 steps, and it will gonna complete those steps one by one. And here below you can see the progress on these steps. So right now the first step is completed, and now the second is also done, and it is working on the third one. Similarly, you can also notice the progress here. So now let's wait for this operation to be completed, and then we are going to look at the response and run our application. So there you can see the execution of our first prompt is completed, and it means that our expense tracker application is created and it is ready. And to confirm that, you can expand this lib folder and you will find these files and folders here. So earlier we only got this main dot dot, but now we got these other folders which contains the code for our expense tracker application. So now once this application is created, the next step is running that application. But before running, we also need to confirm is there any error in that application code or not. And the best way to do that is to open Android Studio. Like in our case, you can notice that in Android Studio we got some error in this main dot dot. So there are chances that while generating the code, Cursor AI will gonna make some small error. And there are also chances that there is no error. So in that case, you can simply launch an Android emulator here and run the application on it. But in our case, we got this error, so we need to correct it. So one way to correct this error is we are going to copy the error message. Like we will move the cursor here, and then we can copy this error message. And then we can ask Cursor that there is an error in main dot dot, kindly correct it. And later when we are going to run our application using Cursor, then we don't need to manually do that, because Cursor will gonna detect the error by himself and also correct it. But for now, let's simply ask Cursor to correct the error in main dot dot. And the error message is, so let's simply paste that message and send this prompt. I can see error now. The issue is card theme constructor, and then it is providing the details. So it means that it is able to see the error, and to confirm that whether it has corrected the error or not, we can open Android Studio, and now you can see the error is gone. So once the error is resolved, then we can simply run our application either by opening an Android emulator or an iOS emulator, and then we can launch the application from Android Studio, or we can ask Cursor to install the application on that Android emulator or iOS emulator. So firstly, we are going to launch an Android emulator and run the application on it using Android Studio, and later we are going to run it using Cursor AI. So for now, in the device manager, I have launched this Android emulator which we created earlier, and now we are going to select that emulator from here and run our application on it. So there you can see the process finished and our application is installed inside this Android emulator. So this is the expense tracker application which Cursor built in my case, and in your case it will gonna look a little different. But you can notice that the application is looking beautiful, although it has some overflow errors, and we are later going to resolve them. So for now, it has also added some sample data here. So to test it, we can click on this plus button to create an expense. So here we need to provide the title for the expense, so we can say like fuel, and then we can say the amount to like 500, and then if you want you can select the date here. So let's select 25, and then you can select the category to like transportation, and then press add expense, and the expense will be added. So there you can see the fuel is added here, and if you want to edit it, you can click on this edit icon, and then let's say we will edit the price to like 550, and then press update, and you can see it is updated here. Similarly, we are also able to see the total expense and the number of expenses. Apart from that, we are also able to see this plus icon, and this is also for adding the new expense. So let's also try to delete one. So we are going to click delete, and now you can see the expense is deleted. So in short words, with just a simple prompt, it has created this expense tracker application. Although the application is not perfect, but it is still functional. And now we are going to create a fully functional expense tracker application by providing a more detailed prompt. And then you will also learn to resolve these GUI errors or the functionality errors as well. So now, after running our application with the help of Android Studio, it's time to run that application inside an Android emulator or iOS simulator with the help of Cursor. And to do that, what we can do is to simply close Android Studio. So we are going to close this project. And after that, we are going to launch the emulator separately. So here we can go to Virtual Device Manager, and you can see emulator is still running. So we are going to stop it. And then we are going to run it again so that it will be visible outside of Android Studio. And there you can see now the emulator is visible outside Android Studio, and we are going to close our current application. So now after doing that, let's close this window and minimize Android Studio. And after that, we are going to open Cursor, and we are going to say we have opened an Android emulator. Kindly install this application inside it. And after doing that, let's simply click on the send button. And there you can see, I can see you have an Android emulator running and want to launch the application on it. And then it has started the process of launching the application on that emulator. And there are chances that you might get an error while trying to do that. So to resolve them on Windows, you can try to search for developer settings, and there you need to make sure that this developer mode is on. So this is a common problem which we get on Windows for Android. And now you can see the execution of this prompt is completed, and there we got it is able to detect our Android emulator, and then it has executed this command in background to install our application on it. And to see this command, you can simply click on this open in external terminal and it will be opened here. And meanwhile our application is also installed in this emulator, but this time we have installed this application using Cursor. So there you can see the same application which we created earlier. Similarly, if you are on a Mac, then you can launch an iOS simulator and ask Cursor to install the application on that simulator. And now inside our next lecture, we are going to build a professional expense tracker application with a more structured prompt. And then we are going to explore Cursor IDE or Cursor AI further. So see you in the next lecture. Hello guys, Hamza here. I just want to let you know that this video is just the first part of my complete Cursor AI for Flutter masterclass. The complete course is around 5 hours long, and inside it we are going to build exciting mobile applications like a WhatsApp clone and an e-commerce application with admin panel with Cursor AI. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion which you can add to your resume. And the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee. So if you are not satisfied, just simply ask for a refund. So if you are interested, I will put a link down below, and we are offering a discount to first 100 students. And now let's continue to the next lecture. So now after building a basic version of our expense tracker application, it's time to make a professional expense tracking application. And to do that, we are going to write a detailed prompt here. And to find that prompt, you can check this lecture resources or the course resources. And there you will find this expense tracker prompt.pdf and txt file. So this txt file contains the version of prompt which you need to copy and paste it in Cursor. But inside this PDF, we have a formatted version of that prompt so that you can read it clearly. Like we have opened it here, and now let's look at the structure of prompt, and then later we are going to execute it. So earlier we just asked Cursor AI to build a simple application where user can add, edit or delete expenses. So we did not provide any specific requirements. But now to build a professional application, it is necessary that you are specific about different things. Like here we are saying create a Flutter app, and then we are specifying the name of application to smart expense tracker. So you can pass the name which you like or you want to use. And then we are providing the functionalities of application that the app should allow me to add a new expense with a name, amount, date and category. And there we are providing some sample categories. After that we are saying show a list of all expenses with nice icons for categories, and I should be able to edit or delete an expense. And then we got our dashboard screen where we are going to display the today's total of expenses, the week's total, month's total, and also a pie chart which will gonna display the expense of each category, and a bar chart which will be displayed for weekly or monthly spending. And then we are saying in the app create a bottom navigation where user have three options: this home, add expense and report. And we are going to cover this thing once our application will be created, because then it will be easy for you to understand this bottom navigation. Similarly, we are specifying that our app should support both light and dark mode using Material 3 design. So this is most popular design architecture being used in Flutter. And then we got this on first launch create some sample expenses. So it means that there will be some sample data inside our application so that we can test it or see things clearly. Apart from that, we are also mentioning that our code should be clean and it will be divided such that there will be separate files for each screen, widget and database. So these are some technical things which we can cover later. But for now, this will be the detailed prompt which we are going to pass to Cursor AI, and it will gonna generate a much improved version of our application. So to do that, you can open the TXT version of this prompt, and then you can go to the cursor and paste it here. And there in the start you can also mention that make changes in the current project and create a Flutter application, so that it knows that we want to make changes in the current project. And even though if we are not going to write that, it will gonna understand that, but we don't want to leave any confusion here, so we can say make changes in the current project and create a Flutter application. So the rest of things stay the same. And now let's simply send it and then look at the response. So there you can see, just like earlier, it has created a to-do list, and then it will gonna start making the changes. And you can see there are total 8 tasks, and then you will be able to see the changes which will be made in the files. So for now it only updated this file, and now there is another file in which the change is made. And at the current moment the first step is completed and the model is completing the second step. So let's wait for all these steps to be completed, and then we are going to test our application. So now the execution of this prompt is completed as well. So it means that it has generated updated version of our application. So if we will expand this lib folder, then you can notice that it contains more folders here. And the screen folder contains 5 different screens. So it means that it has generated a professional version of our application. And now we need to run that application and see it working. And if you will look at this bar, you can notice that now we got another command we executed here, and that command is for running the application on the emulator. So if we will click on it, you can see the terminal is opened, and here it actually tried to run the application inside our Android emulator, but there was some error. So here we can send a prompt that install the application inside our connected Android emulator. Similarly, you can also try to run the application again using Android Studio, but we are going to try here. So let's run it, and there you can see it is saying I can see there are some compilation errors in main dot, and now it will gonna resolve the errors and install the application again inside the simulator. So for now we can see the older version, but once the execution will be completed and the app will be installed, we will see the updated version of this expense tracking application. Similarly, you can try to install the application with the help of Android Studio, and if there is any error in the code, then you can ask Cursor to resolve that error. And now the errors are almost gone, and it has executed this command to run our application. And there you can see our application is installed, and this time we got a much better looking and functional application here. And similarly, if after saying that try to install the app in the connected Android emulator, you are still getting some error, then you can mention that the app is still not installed. Try to resolve the error and run it again. And after trying one or more times, the app will be installed. So now as the app is installed, so let's simply try to test it. So you can see firstly we got this dashboard screen where we are able to see today's, this week and this month expenses, and then we got the total expense here as well. After that we got this recent section where we are able to see recent expenses. And now if we want to add an expense, we can click on this add expense button, and there we can specify the name to like food, and then the amount to like 350, and then the date. And after that you can specify any notes like lunch, and then press add expense. And there you can see we got the message food added successfully. And if we will go to the home screen, there you can see the food item is added. And here if we want to edit it, you can simply click on it, and now here you can edit that expense. Similarly, if you want to delete it, we can simply click on this delete, and there you can see the item is deleted. And apart from this we got this report section, so click on it, and there we are able to see this pie graph because inside our prompt we mentioned it. So it is showing us a portion of pie for each category of the response. Similarly, we got this chart for this week's spending. So on Tuesday we spent this much, and for other days we got these spendings. And then we got category wise breakdown as well. So in your case the application GUI or functionality will be a little different, but as our prompt is specific, so most of the things will be common. So here in the app bar you can also see this icon, so let's try to press it. So if we press, you can see the app is shifting from dark mode to light mode. So it means that it also added dark light mode functionality inside our application. So let's try that here as well, and it is working perfectly. Similarly, if you want to refresh it, you can drag it down a little just like any modern application, and it will gonna refresh the data. So this is our expense tracker application which Cursor AI generated for us by using a simple but structured prompt. So now after creating this expense tracker application, there are chances that in your case there is some overflow or functionality error in this application. So in that case you can simply explain that error here in simple words, and Cursor will gonna make changes in the code and resolve the error. So for example, let's say if we got some overflow error here, then we can simply mention here that in the recent expense section we got an overflow error, kindly correct it. And apart from that, if we got some functionality error, like if this total expense is not correct, then here we can simply mention that in the dashboard the total expense is not being calculated correctly, kindly make that correction. So by simply explaining that error in human language or simple plain text, it will gonna resolve those errors for us. And as we are generating these applications with the help of an AI, so the GUI will be different in your case as compared to mine. So whatever application GUI Cursor will gonna create for you, you can try to share that application GUI or screenshots with us in the course discussion section, so that we can see different versions which Cursor will gonna generate. So now after doing all this, we are going to learn that how we can add features inside existing applications using Cursor AI. And to learn that, inside our next lecture we are going to add a monthly budget feature inside this application. So see you in the next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. So now we are going to learn that how we can enhance existing applications with Cursor AI. So let's say you got an application and you want to make some change or add some other feature in that application. So to do that, you can simply open that application code inside Cursor AI. Like we have opened this expense tracker. And after that, in this chat window, you can try to mention the feature which you want to add. So one way is you can simply mention that feature in plain text. Or another way is to specify the details of that feature in a much better and structured manner. Like in our case, inside this application, we are going to add a monthly budget feature. So by using that feature, user will be able to set a monthly budget of some amount. So let's say he will gonna set a monthly budget of 1000, and after that we are going to indicate that how much of that monthly budget is spent and how much is left, and we are going to show graphs and charts indicating that. So to do that, we can simply mention here that add a monthly budget feature inside our application and then send it to our GenAI model. But by doing that, it will gonna try to implement that feature based upon its thinking. But if we want to control that, how that feature will be implemented, then we need to specify a detailed instruction just like before. So in this lecture resources or course resources, you will find this monthly budget feature.pdf. So simply open it and you will see that we have created a detailed prompt to add that feature. So we are saying add a monthly budget feature to existing expense tracker application. The app should allow user to set a monthly budget and then save this budget so that it is remembered when the app is closed. Have a simple screen where user can enter or update the monthly budget. After that, we are saying calculate the total expense for the current month and show how much of the budget has been used or how much is left. And then we are saying show a progress bar to visualize the budget usage. After that, if the expense go over the budget, display a warning message in the budget. And after doing this, we have this app update section. So in this section, we are mentioning the updates in the existing portion of application. So we are saying that add a new budget tab in the bottom navigation. So it means that a fourth tab will be added here. And then in the budget screen, show the current month budget amount, total spent versus remaining, progress bar, and provide a button to update the budget. And then we are specifying our design related thing that use a clean material 3 design, keep the design simple and beginner friendly, and add comments in the code so that developers or beginners can understand. So this is a detailed prompt which we are going to execute. And to do that, we can open the txt version of this prompt and then we can copy it. After that, open our application and we are going to paste that prompt here. And then we are simply going to send this prompt. So there you can see, I can see your application is running. So let me add monthly budget feature as requested and I will create a new budget tab with all the functionality you specified. And then it created this to-do list. So let's wait for it to be completed and then we will see our updated application. So now the execution of this prompt is completed as well. So it means that the feature is added inside our application. And if we go up a little, there you might notice that it has also tried to install the app again. And yes, there you can see it has executed this command and now our application is installed again. And in your case, if it is not installing the app automatically, you can simply mention here that install the app inside the connected Android emulator or iOS simulator. Similarly, if there is any error, you can try to ask it that while building or running the application, there is any error, kindly resolve it and run the application again. So now you can see in our case, the app is installed and we got this budget section here. So this tab is added in the bottom navigation and if we press on it, you can see this beautiful screen. So here on this screen, we can set our budget. So to do that, we can simply click on this update budget and let's say we are going to set a budget of like 2000 here. So click update budget and there you can see the message budget updated. So if we refresh the screen, you can see it is not updating. So it means that there is any issue in this particular feature. So if we go to home screen and we come back here, you can see still the budget is not being updated. So it means that we need to ask Cursor that our budget is not being updated. So let's simply specify it here, and it is not necessary that in your case it is not working. So it might be working in your case, but it is a good thing that we got this issue and now we will learn that how we can resolve it. So in budget screen, so let's send this prompt. And there you can see, I can see the issue. So the app is running successfully, but there is a database error. And then it is providing the detail to fix that error. So let's wait for the response to be completed. And then we are going to test our application again. So now the response is completed and it has executed the command to install our application again. So there you can see this command, and if we will open it inside a terminal, you can see the installation is in progress. So basically the error was it has added the budget feature, but inside our database the budget table was not added. So now it has kind of uninstalled our application and install it again so that our database will be updated and we will not get any error. So let's go to the budget section, and there you can see our budget was now set. So earlier when we set it to 1000, it was set properly, and after that it has calculated our total expense, which is 282, and it has subtracted it from this budget, and remaining is 717, and above we are able to see the progress beautifully. Similarly below we got our monthly budget, amount spent, remaining, and status. And if we are going to exceed from our budget, then we might see some warning here. So here what we can do is to add some expense. So we are going to say like test and add like 1200, which will gonna exceed, and then update it. And now go to budget screen, and there you can see we got the warning symbol here that our budget is exceeded. So remaining is minus 482. So this is exactly what we mentioned inside our prompt. And if we will shift the mode, you can see it is also looking beautiful here. So that's how you can expand existing applications using Cursor AI. So now after building this professional expense tracker application, there are chances that in this application there are some errors. So errors can be functional errors, like some functionality is not working correctly, or there can be any GUI related error, like if this text is too long, then it might be showing that text widget has overflown or something like that. So to resolve them, you can simply mention that error here in plain words. So let's say if this total is not being calculated correctly, then you can mention that on the dashboard screen the total expense is not being calculated correctly, kindly correct it, and it will gonna make that correction. Similarly, if there is any text overflow error or the long text is not being visible correctly, then you can mention that in recent expenses there is some overflow error, or if the text is too long, then there is an overflow error, kindly correct it. And by simply mentioning that here, it will gonna make these corrections. And as we are generating these applications with the help of Cursor AI, so in your case the GUI or functionality may differ a little. So I encourage you to share your application screen recording or screenshot with us in the course discussion section so that we can see for which one of us it has generated the best application or best application GUI. And the main thing which we have learned by creating this application is the impact of prompt. So for now we have used this particular prompt for generating this application, and here in this prompt you can see we are specifying things clearly. So from our application name to the functionality, we are specifying each and everything. So our application name is Smart Expense Tracker, and you can see it here. And after that, we are specifying each functionality clearly. So if you want to create a different application, then you should try to list down the functionality of that application just like this, and then try to pass that prompt to Cursor AI. And as before executing the prompt, I told you about this bottom navigation. So inside mobile app, this bottom section where user can select the particular screen or tab is called bottom navigation. So it will gonna help navigate between different screens. So we are clearly mentioning that in bottom navigation there will be 3 tabs. One will be for home, and there we are going to display all expenses. So this is our home tab. The second one will be for adding expense, so you can see it here. And the third one will be for reports and charts. Similarly, if you want to add some other tab here, then you can make that change here. And in future, if you are going to build some other application where you want this bottom navigation, then you can simply specify it like this. And after that, you can see we are mentioning use a modern clean Material 3 design. So this Material 3 design is the latest design language of Google. So here we are clearly mentioning that use the latest design languages so that the buttons or the text widget or all other GUI components have the latest look and feel. Similarly, after the design, we are mentioning that store the data in the local database so that it won't disappear when we close the application. So in mobile applications, to store the data, we use different methods, and one of them is our local database. So for this application, we are using it so that our application data will not be deleted when we are going to restart our application. So in simple words, while passing the prompt to our GenAI model or to Cursor AI, try to specify each and everything clearly so that we will have the exact same application which we want to generate. And now inside our next lecture, we will learn to expand existing applications with Cursor AI. And to learn that, we are going to add another feature inside our application. So see you in the next lecture. Hello guys, Hamza here. I just want to let you know that this video is just the first part of my complete Cursor AI for Flutter masterclass. The complete course is around 5 hours long, and inside it we are going to build exciting mobile applications like a WhatsApp clone and an e-commerce application with admin panel with Cursor AI. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion which you can add to your resume. And the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee. So if you are not satisfied, just simply ask for a refund. So if you are interested, I will put a link down below, and we are offering a discount to first 100 students. And now let's continue to the next lecture.